Hi, and welcome back to the Colorado G-Men Show. Well, the Giants are not mathematically eliminated. This season is now unsalvageable. Giants season seem to have had more deaths than a cat. Today, we're going to recap the Giants-Eagles game, talk about Pat Shurmer's game plan, and where Shurmer can go from here.
New York Giants, let's go defense. Ballin'. New York Giants, fly high, you know this.
On to the game. We have the tale of two halves, really. This generally indicates poor coaching, but we'll get to those implications later. Giants offense opened the game with 4 straight scoring drives, 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. The Eagles only scoring on a field goal during that duration. The Eagles torched the D on a 2-minute drill for a touchdown. Corey Coleman sets the Giants up on their own 46-yard line after a 46-yard kick return, and the Giants have a 27-yard drive in 5 plays to get into field goal range for Rosas. Eli Manning throws an absurdly ill-advised interception, erasing Aldrick Rosas' opportunity to make a field goal to go into halftime with a 2-possession lead after the Giants utterly dominated the Eagles in the first half. The Giants had 346 total yards to the Eagles' 159, yet couldn't pull off more than a 1-possession lead at halftime. In the second half, the Eagles gained 182 yards to the Giants' 56, and more importantly, outscored the Giants 14-3. The Giants had an opportunity to go ahead, but a few bad calls kept the Giants out of the end zone, and they were able to tie up the game. With 5 minutes and 49 seconds to go, the Eagles marched on a 5-minute, 27-second, 50-play drive to knock a 43-yard field goal with 22 seconds left and no Giants timeouts. On the offensive side of the ball, the O-line looked great in the first half while the running game was still humming along. Once Shurmer tried to hammer Saquon twice for no gain in the second half and spell Saquon, the protection started to break down. Eli ended up as the 5th fastest time to throw in Week 12 with 2.48 seconds, even below his season average of 2.63 seconds. Since the NFL's next-gen stats only show the full game, and anecdotally it seemed he had a lot more time in the first half, this paints a pretty sad story for the second half. The script on beating Eli is to get pressure early enough in his dropback that soft zone holes don't expose themselves. If Eli is forced to throw this early, the Giants will lose. Hands down. I don't want to throw this at Eli's feet, as the 4 quarterbacks with less time to throw, Ben Roethlisberger, Andy Dalton, Matthew Stafford, and Cam Newton, all also lost, though Andy Dalton didn't finish the game with a season-ending broken thumb. On most days, the Giants' O stats would look good. In the link, it was just not good enough. On the defensive side of the ball, they started out like a ball on fire in the first quarter, only surrendering 37 yards and no points on 2 possessions. They then surrendered 22 points and 232 yards in the second and fourth quarters when the pressure is highest. The biggest deficiency I see was a lack of pressure on Carson Wentz, despite getting 3 sacks. Also, 0 takeaways on a team that had the 3rd worst turnover ratio coming into the game. You got to get on that pigskin larceny. On special teams, Aldrick Rosas keeps getting more confident, and that's a very good thing. And Corey Coleman continues to impress as a return man, with 3 returns for 101 yards. I say as a return man because he dropped a perfectly placed slant pass with room to run in the third quarter that could have sprung the Giants out of their second half funk. Last week, I broke down the poor clock management of Pat Shurmer. This week, he makes it too easy to criticize him. Even Odell Beckham was questioning his game plan. Let's talk about it. On the first drive, a beautiful 9-play, 75-yard drive, Pat Shurmer unconscionably goes for 2. On the first drive! Let's forget about the fact for a second that Eli missed the wide-open Red Ellison for an easy 2. TTFP, take the freaking points! This has far-reaching implications as it encourages the Eagles to go for 2 and make it twice. Effectively, this decision cost the Giants 3 points over the course of the game. Hey, what was the difference in the score of the game again? For whatever reason, Coach Shurmer has taken the blame for Eli's stupid decision to forego the 3 points for a double-covered OBJ end zone shot at the end of this first half. I don't necessarily put that on Shurmer. Not getting Saquon Barkley involved in the second half is ridiculous. Saquon Barkley had 94 yards on 9 carries in the first half, yet Shurmer only dialed his number in 4 times in the second half. Odell Beckham only had 2 receptions in the second half on 4 targets for 21 yards after 64 yards in the first half. This loss is at Shurmer's feet absolutely and unequivocally. What can Shurmer do to move forward? I was absolutely despondent after this loss. There's nothing worse losing to this team with a fan base that deserves no joy. In the offseason, when Shurmer announced that he was going to call the offensive plays, I immediately worried that this might become McAdoo too. While his media presence and player management isn't as bad, which will give him a little more leash than McAdoo, his problems may be quite similar. The best coaches in the NFL manage the game, not the play calls. His problem is not understanding game situations when he's too busy trying to outfox the defensive coordinator. If you've ever played poker, you know that when you're in a hand, it's extremely challenging to simultaneously manage your hand and read the other players. I would love to play poker with somebody who's managing my hand. Well, all I got to do is look at the other players. Thing is, in football, you have an offensive coordinator who should have their finger on the pulse of the game. Shurmer, listen to me. Give up the offensive play calling. We need to evaluate you as a head coach, and you're not doing a very good job of it because you're too worried about the play calling. In the end, I believe that Shurmer has the ability to get these players to perform on the field, and he's done it. He's taking a ragtag team and making them competitive. But to win in the NFL, you also need to manage the games better than you have been. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Colorado G-Men show. We'll see you at the Tavern and Platt Park in Denver, the Lazy Dog in Boulder, and the Good Company Bar in Colorado Springs. We'll be at every game at all of those bars. And don't forget to subscribe and go Giants!